Hello, welcome. The game I'm going to show you is very famous. In fact, the position I'm going to show you is famous for the wrong reasons. Polgar, playing white, was playing against Kasparov, and Kasparov touched the piece, moved it to a certain point, and then realized that the point where he had placed the piece was wrong for some reason, and quickly moved it to a different place. The controversy is it wasn't clear whether he actually let go of the piece or not, and this happens a lot in the chess community, so it's not particularly shocking that it happened. It's just because it happened to Kasparov and Polgar. They were the top players. They were top players, of course. Made a lot of controversy. So what I want you to do is, these kind of incidences, when it comes to famous games, act as markers in our minds to help us keep or memorize certain ideas. And this position has got a lot to offer, actually. So the position in question is this one. So Kasparov is playing black, and it's his turn to play, and he has to find a way of making progress. Is much better here, and he touched the knight and moved it to c5, and then realized there was something wrong with it, and then moved it to f8. So your first task in this particular video is to identify what was wrong with knight c5. It looks like a good move, but there's something wrong with it. So identify, pause the video, see if you can see what the problem was. If you've done that, it's very useful. This is the best way to actually practice when you get a position like this and you apply yourself to it and see if it makes a difference in your, the way you play. The reason I mentioned that is because most of the time the students have to deal with, the mistakes they make are of a tactical nature. Believe it or not, and 80 to 90% of the games are decided due to tactical mistakes. So it puzzles me sometimes when people don't work on their tactics. Of course, you need to learn how to work on those properly. And this is one way of doing it. When you are working through analyzed games, see if you can identify what the tactical mistakes were. Anyway, the problem with knight to c5 is, you see, if you play bishop c6 in this particular position, there's a rook on c2 and a queen on a4, and they protect this c6 square. So when you play knight c5, the rook on c2 has been cut out of the protection, and bishop c6 is now possible. Initially, I thought this was clearly losing, but if you take some time, maybe work with the computer here, you see that actually black is still fine. He's not losing, he just loses his advantages, which is a big deal, of course. So Kasparov actually played knight f8. So he retracted his move, played to knight f8, and white played knight e4. He has to somehow unravel his pieces, and after knight d7, take on f6, take on f6. Excuse the arrows, I was using them to demonstrate an idea. It becomes clear after knight f6 that black has got a lot of pieces which can get to the king very quickly before white can defend. And there is an idea in chess that if you are attacking, you need 3 clear pieces without a defender to attack. And the defender is defined as a minor piece that's on the side where the king is. If you divide the board into 2, you notice that the king has got no defender at all. So black needs to only get 3 pieces on the king side, and there should be enough to deliver mate. And here, white's move does not help the cause, because he goes and takes a pawn. This makes sense if you're going to get into an endgame. You steal this pawn and it's going to promote. Unfortunately, there's no time for that. Knight g4 with the threat knight f2. There is a queen on b6, but there's a rook on c2 supporting this idea. So white plays rook f1, which is still losing. But Kasparov misses something here and plays e4. Now the task is on you again. Pause the video and see if you can find a winning idea here. It's a beautiful, beautiful idea. I assume you have paused the video. If you manage to find that knight f2 is actually winning, well done, because now this rook takes is impossible, because after rook takes, white does not have time to take on f2, because the rook on d1 is hanging. And after queen g1 take rook b8, this position is clearly winning for black. So e4 made work a little bit harder for Kasparov, but after bishop d5, he spots a beautiful idea. It's obvious that white wants to play bishop b3, but what made players like Kasparov great was that they would be able to see a threat and beyond the threat. And here Kasparov just played e3 with the idea that after bishop b3, he had seen that queen e4, bishop takes, queen takes. Although black is an exchange down, he's got so many threats. I mean, on an immediate basis, he's threatening knight to f2, check, and there is not much that white can do about it. He's also threatening e2, so you have to move this rook somewhere, and e2 is coming anyway, and this would be very uncomfortable for white. So what white did is a standard idea in positions where you're being attacked. He tried to exchange rooks. Again, the brilliance of Kasparov shows. Pause the video here and see if you can identify what is the most optimal move. If you have paused and managed to find that rook to d8 is good, check. And this, I mean, amazing. Kasparov allows this check with a tempo for white. And white has got no threat whatsoever in the position. And after queen e7, you just need to find one more idea for Kasparov, which made white resign. If you've paused the position and managed to find queen c4, well done. Don't think queen e2 or queen d3 is the same. It's queen c4. And the idea is that if you play rook e1, is going to play queen f4, threatening this. He's obviously attacking the rook. And you have no time for other moves. And if you play, let's say, what could be an idea here? As long as you leave the f file, he's going to play queen f4, and you can't stop h2 threat. You can't play g3. He's going to play queen f3 check, and the king has to move queen f2, and it's met. Brilliant game by Kasparov. My recommendation when you see controversy, just use it to remember positions. Controversy will never end. And a beautiful game. I hope this has been very instructive for you, and if you like the video, please follow or like. It helps us grow the channel.